Hey everybody, Kaoiji here. For those of you guys who haven't already heard, the Japanese version of the game got hit with some really massive delays recently. Now for the global version, this actually doesn't very mean much for us because we still have some content to be able to blow through before we reach parity anyway. But what that means is that a lot of the things that you guys might have been excited for, like the graphics engine update, may not hit global as soon as you might have originally guessed. So for those of you guys who are currently wondering what I'm talking about, the Japanese version of the game was scheduled to get their graphics update on February 17th. Sega Japan decided that they actually wanted to put out a statement saying that they found some really big issues when it comes to Phantasy Star Online 2's graphics engine update, and that all of the content that would have then been released during February in the Japanese version of the game was now going to then be delayed over until March. Now for the Japanese players, a lot of the content that they were missing anyway was certain AC scratches and SG scratches. All the web panels and events that they would have been having was also then delayed. And then also their Mission Pass 5 is now delayed as well. And as far as I recall, the graphics engine update was supposed to be bringing the screenshot mode along with it. So all of that is now no longer coming. So while a lot of this is unfortunate, the biggest hit to them was actually the fact that they now also had to delay Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Sega Japan putting out the news about the Phantasy Star Online 2 delay for the graphics engine update, and then also then having to release the fact that the second closed beta test was then also delayed at the very same time. Now in their statement, it was basically a one panel thing saying that the second closed beta test was then delayed to a date that they're going to then let us know in the future. My assumption that this is also then going to be delayed until late March as well, because the only thing that we have to go off on is that they're looking to fix some problems and then take measures against the server load. So while unfortunate as this is, this really doesn't mean much for global as of right now. So the global version of the game just got Luster and level 100, as well as one of the new extreme quests. We also got the final chapter of the story at the same time. And then during our next maintenance, we might actually see the introduction to the next urgent quest, which is the True Profound Darkness, which then also brings the Lightweaver and Dark Banisher weapons along with it, or the Crass and Ayer series weapons. Now, assuming they choose to then release the urgent and then the following maintenance after that, then choose to release the solo quest as well as whatever additional remaining content that we might have been missing, it's going to take us about a month before we finally hit parity on the global side of the game. Now, this might actually mean that if they don't fix the graphics dungeon update in time, that we might then finally start seeing the slow rollout of content when it comes to the global side that the Japan version has been seeing since November. To give a little context, the Japanese version of the game has actually received no major updates since pretty much November. And then depending on the actual rollout of the graphics engine update, that actually might mean for the global version that we might see the graphics engine update at the same time as the Japanese version. Previously, I was under the opinion that the Japanese version would have seen there first, while the global version would have reached then thereafter, and then finally leading up to parity, which would have been maybe the small little updates in between then, with the 20th anniversary event that the Japanese version was supposed to get on the 17th. But again, this doesn't really mean like, oh my God, the global version is going to be suffering. No, this actually just means that some things that we would have gotten, we might just get a little bit later. And either way, this is actually not a bad thing for the global player base either, because like I said, now this lets people be able to enjoy the time and enjoy the gear that they've been able to get. And might as well start telling you that right now is the Crass and Ayer weapon series are pretty much the final weapon series that you're going to have to worry about. So for those of you guys who have been saying, I'm not crafting any other weapons anymore, and I'm going to wait for New Genesis. Well, since the New Genesis closed beta test has been delayed, which probably might mean that the actual release date for New Genesis is also delayed as a result, you might as well at least start working towards your Crass and Ayer weapons, which then kind of gives you a little bit of a boost when New Genesis finally does come out. But going back to what I was talking about earlier when it comes to parity, to me, I'm actually hoping that this means that we'll be on par with the Japanese version of the game sooner rather than later, and that the graphics engine of the game then also means that that's going to be releasing at the same time as the global version. To me, I think it'd be super awesome to see the graphics engine update be the super true, like simultaneous release update for the global and the Japanese version of the game, because even though the Japanese player base has been waiting for this and been wanting this probably a lot longer than the global player base, it would then mean a lot for the player base as an entire whole to be able to share the excitement over the the same things together. And what I mean by that as well is that you've also had a lot of Japanese content creators simply be overwhelmed by the amount of overseas players who are now interested in Phantasy Star and following them in droves over on Twitter, just so that way they can see more when it comes to Phantasy Star Online to New Genesis. So having the ability to then see that same excitement happen worldwide when it comes to Phantasy Star, I think that would be really, really awesome. But anyway, I'm going to end the video out here. Listen, you guys and your support has been absolutely amazing. So thank you guys again for clicking another one of my videos. And thank you guys for hanging out here as always. Stay awesome, stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace. I'm out.